Welcome to the Vegan Pulse. I am your host, Nancy Arenas. Today with me is Dr. Shelley Ostroff. She is a planetary activist, leadership consultant, social architect, mystic, and writer. She is the founder of Together in Creation, 7 Days of Rest, and Codes.Earth, and other initiatives dedicated to the healing and replenishment of the planet and all of its inhabitants. Concerned by the suffering and devastations humans cause each other, other species, and the planet, she dedicated herself to exploring whole systems dynamics, and integrative healing wisdom from diverse disciplines and traditions. She has worked with people from all walks of life, from different sectors of society and across continents as a therapist, consultant, mentor, and creative partner in cultivating individual, collective, and whole system wellness. Through ongoing research and practice, she has developed a unique holistic approach to human and whole system healing and transformation that includes involving blueprints for a new form of holistic, health-oriented global eco-governance. Stick around. I'd like to introduce her to you.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Shelley. How are you?
Hi, Nancy. Good. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful and feel excited and inspired to talk to you today.
Thank you.
I have an excerpt from one of your websites. We, citizens of Earth, unite in love and concern for our planetary home and all its inhabitants. We come together as one humanity across national, cultural, and ideological boundaries to restore the well-being of all life on Earth. Now, this is your mission, and I would like you to tell our viewers about that. But before you go into that, tell me how you came to veganism.
I think the journey started from quite a young age. I was probably around 17 when I started understanding what I was eating, and which is a while back. And I stopped eating red meat very quickly after I understood, that I was somehow shocked into that awareness, because I'd taken it for granted that that's just what happens. But there was something that happened at about the age of 16, 17, that there were enough people around me who were questioning it that made me question it as well. And then over the next period of time, I started investigating a little bit more and just felt that this is not the way that I want to live. That there's something that is absolutely, in spite of the fact that it's the norm, there's something deeply wrong with it, to eat of some other being suffering. And gradually over the years, I just stopped eating all meat, all fish, all cheese, and it was a process, but I've been probably vegan for about 20 years now.
And how easy is it to be vegan in Israel?
I think, they say Israel is one of the vegans' main, a wonderful country for veganism. And indeed it is. There's a lot of options. And yet there's also a lot of meat eating and a lot of cheese, dairy industry is very big here. But there's more and more growing awareness of veganism in Israel. It's picking up very quickly, and that's very heartening. And most restaurants will have vegan options at this point.
Okay.
And more supermarkets, I think, are moving towards having vegan products. Very, very active vegan community in Israel. Very, very active animal rights community.
Okay. Tell me a little bit. So I know that you have several websites. So tell me a little bit first of Together in Creation.
This was the first website I created. The initiative, the initial drive was really around somehow curating the journey that I was on of learning about what was so wrong in the world that I saw around me. What were the collective processes that were really undermining the health of the planet and all its inhabitants? What were the forces that were causing so much suffering and devastation to life? And I started a while back researching this, inspired actually by a visit to the White Lions in South Africa, where something felt very accurate in human relationship with nature. And I began to be very inspired by looking at the world through the majesty of the White Lions consciousness and seeing how does nature organize itself, and also what is wrong in how humans are organizing ourselves. And so it was a journey of learning, of writing, of beginning to unravel some of the foundational problems of democracy itself that seems to be talking one language and yet enacting something very, very different. So I wrote an article called Deconstructing Democracy, which to me was the foundation of getting to understand that we need a new form of governance, because the form of governance that we have is legitimizes and is based on the consciousness of domination and exploitation. And there needs to be a different way. And people were idealizing democracy. And I said, no, this, I can't see a functional democracy. We need to go deeper. It's time for something else. And so this has been a long, long journey of bringing my background in whole system health and leadership consulting and understanding a holistic approach to well-being in human systems, to saying, how do we apply this wisdom to our collective healing process on the planet? And it's becoming ever more relevant now. And this is what drove me to the next projects. Just really understanding the need for radical transformation from the roots, because we're building on something that is fundamentally divisive, exploitative, and human-centered.
Yeah, awesome. And then just briefly tell me about your 7 days of rest and what is the idea behind that?
So the 7 days of rest came in a very strong vision a few years ago. Sometimes I get very powerful visions and I just have to follow them because they seem so accurate in the moment. And so the 7 days of rest is, sorry, I've got someone over here. Let me just. So the 7 days of rest, I had a vision that this was a way of starting a new year, of really creating a collective field of intention and consciousness around the healing, focusing, I was seeing people around the planet really holding space in very sacred ways for the planet, for the recalibration, for the healing. And so it's been, we're coming up to the 4th annual event, which starts the year with 7 days of rest. And each year there's a slightly different theme. And this year, from the 1st to the 7th of January, it's going to be 7 days of rest and radical healing. And it feels very timely that we focus our collective energy on this whole system healing process. And we're actually launching at that time the other initiative, which is World Water Year 2021. So the understanding is that our collective healing really comes from beginning with the source of life, which is water. We are all water. So at the beginning of the year, this year, when COVID broke out, I was recognizing that there was a real opportunity for the radical change that we need, because suddenly we were beginning as a whole system to recognize just how far we are from our, how far we've come from the laws of life and how damaging we are to the system, and that we're all vulnerable. Everybody was talking about health suddenly, and everyone was also realizing that the interconnectedness is far more profound than we'd ever been taught about, and that water has no boundaries, and the reliance on water was so, is so strong in the healing process. And water is the foundation of health, the foundation of life. And the vision was that if we can, as citizens, collectively come together beyond nations, beyond cultures, beyond all of these divides, to focus on just one thing, a world water law, which immediately ensures that we collectively restore all our planetary waters, the planetary water cycle, ensure that all humans and animals have guaranteed access to natural, uncontaminated water, and hold everyone responsible for the impact on all waters everywhere. We would actually be activating such a powerful healing process that would touch every aspect of our life. And we would be doing a lot more to stop COVID, as well as all other diseases that are so mushrooming at the moment from our, so we would be really working on improving our collective immune system, and we would actually be activating a transformation in all of the systems, from the economics to agriculture to everything, if we put life at the center and if we put water at the center. And so that's what we're doing. We've created this proposal for a world water law. Many organizations and many communities are coming on board, because they know that if we work with water, or if we work with all, then the animals benefit, the trees benefit, the climate benefits. So many activist groups for all sectors are coming on board, and we're hoping to initiate this World Water Year 2021 as a global movement.
And that's great. And that's an awesome thing, because water is so important. I mean, you can go, I forget how many days, 7 days or so without eating. But if you go, I think it's 2 or 3 days without water, you're done.
We are water beings. We come from water, and we need water. And
and yet it's so sad to hear that in some countries, people are fighting over water because they don't have water. I mean, they take each other's life for a bottle of water. It's very important for people to know that even though, yes, we open up our tap and water seems so available to us, the earth is drying up and our water is being polluted. And when we have no water, we have no us.
Yes, and this abuse of water, this violation of water, that people believe they can own it and hold it as their own. Privatization and commodification of water goes against the laws of life. And so we are interfering with the water cycle. We are taking away the rights of others to have water, whether it's humans or animals or trees or ecosystems, in our culture, in our human-centered, exploitative culture. And it's damaging. If we really go back to the source of where all disease comes from, one can say that when we don't have access to clean natural water, we do not have access to health. And that process is being infringed upon day by day. When I speak to more and more communities, there are attacks and violations on even the tap water that comes to their community, the fracking, the animal agriculture obviously is a huge piece of this, the pharmaceutical industry, which puts an enormous amount of chemicals in the water. So what we're drinking is really not that pristine life intelligence that is there, that gives itself generously for all of us to thrive. We're drinking something very different, and our health, our individual and collective health, is the biggest casualty of the system.
Well, again, thank you, Shelley, so very much for being on the Vegan Pulse today and bringing out information that is important for us to not only know, but research, learn more about, join a movement. And if you haven't joined a movement yet, you need to make water a priority. Mm-hmm. And I will have all your website information on our media pages, so that if people want to connect, and I hope that they do, and that they join your mailing list and help forward all the things that you're envisioning, because you are truly an inspiration. Thank you for being.
Thank you so much, Nancy. Blessings.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining us in another episode of the Vegan Pulse. I am your host, Nancy Arenas. Please remember to follow us on Facebook, give us a like, check out our blog, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you have a pulse, you have a purpose. Live vegan.